cats.
It is Hotline League episode 101. We are kicking off the next 100 with an amazing guest tonight. I'll introduce him in a second, but first off, I want to go and throw to my constant co-host, Mark Zimmerman. How's it going, Mark?
Great. I got a new microphone, courtesy of Travis. It came with this dinky little stand that doesn't reach anywhere.
Yeah, and we're all hearing the thumping noises as that. Yeah.
Yep. And so now you get more ambient noise like my cats, which is cool.
Anyway, it took 100 episodes, but we heard you loud and clear, and now we are going to implement this new microphone situation for Mark.
I'm going to have to WWE it a bunch, just yank it up.
Well, just stop touching it, because it makes a ton of thumping noises.
What about now? What about now that it's in my hand?
Okay, if you just hold that position for the entire show, it'll be fine.
I'm going to try and put it down gingerly.
Nope, there it is. There's the thumping. Anyway, I don't think you know how microphones work.
Oh, I do.
I
know what I'm doing, you guys.
Anyway, we're joined by a person we've been trying to book on the show for quite some time. Damonte. How's it going, Damonte?
It's going great. Couldn't be better.
I feel like the past week you have been talked about more than any other time in your career.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's been pretty fucking insane for sure. I didn't expect there to be that much like community backlash for everything that happened. It's like definitely weird. I don't know how to like completely respond to it, I guess.
Yeah. You should lean into it. You are the messiah for North America.
Pobelter passed his baton to me.
I don't think Pobelter has officially passed his baton. I think Pobelter
I don't think
today
he's
is like,
dead or anything.
where's my fucking LCS spot?
What are you talking about, dude? He's fucking gone. We're all dead. Only Golden Glue is left.
Yeah. Well, either way. Regardless, we'll take Damonte's going to join us for an hour, and then he's going to leave after an hour. He doesn't want to stick around for the whole show because NA mids are lazy, and that's why they get replaced by imports. We've never had any other person say they only want to be on for an hour. So I think we're demonstrating just why.
If there's any mids from Europe and Korea who want to come on the show in an hour, let us know.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it.
No, I think you should get an OPL mid, actually.
Okay. Either way. I want to give a shout out to Alienware and Movement, our sponsors for the show. We'll talk more about them later. Either way. Let's get into it. So first off, we've had a ton of stuff. Actually, at this point in time, I do not know what has and hasn't been announced yet. So, for all the roster stuff, I think Immortals has announced their whole thing, right? Do we know the full Immortals roster? Mark?
You should have a screen thing that you're ready to pull up with all your like hypothetically completed rosters based off rumors.
That would have made a ton of sense, but I don't have that yet. Mark, let's see. Mark, do you have anything? We should have prepared for this. This is when somebody leaves a shitty YouTube comment flaming us.
Wait, for what? I'm confused. What's going on?
Who do we know which teams are officially confirmed and which teams aren't?
I would have to like run through them all. Like,
okay. Well, it's just I'm excited because I feel like I'm gonna accidentally leak some stuff because I've heard a lot of rumors that I don't know what's been announced yet.
Fucking leak it, dude. Who cares? No one cares.
Regardless, so there's been a ton of stuff that got announced in the past week. So I'm sure that a ton of people are gonna have different opinions on that. The spiciest conversation ongoing seems to be imports versus NA natives, and why don't we have more NA natives, and do teams suck because they're not picking up NA natives, and do we have too many imports, and should we not have any imports, or should we just have all the imports? Is LCS pointless now because we have so many import players, which is
let
one
me
of the
answer that one right away. Let me let you guys in on a secret. Everything's pointless. There's no meaning behind anything.
That's facts.
Anyway, Tyler's one Twitch Rivals team has advanced to the playoffs 6-0. I mean, that's a spicy meatball. Anyway, ton of different stuff. Oh, Coma going to Fiji Gaming, which like we don't tend to talk about stuff outside of North America, but that's actually kind of crazy.
It's like era ending.
Yeah. Mark Cuban thinks owning an esports team in the U.S. is an awful business. It is.
That's like 3 weeks old.
Really? I mean,
yeah.
it just got posted yesterday.
Well, whoever is just karma whoring then, because I saw that Twitter thread.
No. This is from October 30th. Yes, it's probably the most views this Fair Game channel has ever gotten. Anyway,
nice flex, dude. What
I'm trying to clip through this YouTube thing. Yeah, it's funny. Their videos normally get nothing. Then they do an esports video and it goes crazy. All right. Anyway, so there's been a ton of stuff to talk about. And because we only have Damonte for the first hour, we'll talk to him a little bit about his stuff. And then we'll take some questions that are more related to things that he can talk about, like NA mids, etc., etc. But yeah, first off, we'll ask Damonte. Damonte, can you say what you are doing next split?
Next split? I mean, as of right now, it looks like I'm probably gonna be playing in academy. I'm just weighing out my options for the most part, trying to find a team where, like, I mean, I feel like I could be useful for their LCS team, because I definitely don't plan on staying in academy for the whole year. Like, hopefully by summer split, I'll be back in LCS. So pretty much.
So you're wearing a Cloud9 shirt, but you also have a Golden State Warriors jacket on.
Yeah, I couldn't find any other team merch, or else I would have worn all 10.
Okay. So it's not a world where we're not in a world where it's between those two teams and you're deciding between them. Because that would be the cute thing to do. Would be to wear both of them.
All right. No, that's not the case.
Well, so you won't say where you're headed other than academy, probably. So I don't know. I guess if Pobelter's not playing in LCS, and it sounds like our friend Damonte isn't either, the NA Dream team is dead. The NA Mid Dream is dead. Other than Golden Glue, who would be the last person. And he'd be on Golden Guardians. So I don't know. Mark, do you want to throw any questions to Damonte before we start taking calls?
Any thoughts of joining the analyst desk?
Full time?
Yeah, dude. Just drop everything. Come on down.
What's the salary looking like? Because that's why I'm not on the team. I just asked for way too much money. So.
What kind of lifestyle you got right now? Your apartment doesn't look too big. You could probably keep that lifestyle. That's the most important thing, right? Not the number, the lifestyle.
So let's actually address that. That's a really good. I'm glad you brought that up, because Damonte, I saw a thread where some people were speculating, like, why is Damonte not in? So some people have speculated it's because you're asking for way too much money. So let's just ask: are you asking for way too much money?
No, not at all.
Do you like? Is there a minimum for you? I'm not trying to pry too much into like the number itself or anything like that, but I'm just trying to get a scope or gauge, like, what do you think of when you're thinking of salary, and how does that factor into your decision? Is there a world where, like, if you were offered too low of a salary, you wouldn't join an LCS team?
I mean, in a case like that, that's when, like, multiple teams would want me, but that was not the case. So then I was not able to, like, argue salary, right? If you have like a player, I mean, it just depends on your circumstance, pretty much. So, definitely wasn't the case.
Okay. Next question: are you a Dardoch? Where people are speculating, Dardoch has a hard time finding LCS teams because he's got this reputation of being toxic. They pointed to you. I think you had a fine or a ban or something in 2018 for being toxic in solo queue. Are you too toxic to be on an LCS team?
No. I mean, but you'd have to ask my teammates, obviously. Sure. I played with Dardoch, and I got along with Dardoch just fine. So I guess maybe that's.
So I guess you are toxic, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I am fucking toxic.
I'm trying to think if there's other excuses or other reasons I've heard for why you might, or speculation as to why you might not be on an LCS team. Have you heard other speculation as to why you might not be on an LCS team?
Not really. I mean, I haven't looked at all of this stuff too much, so no.
All right. What do you think of the whole situation as an NA mid? What do you think of the whole situation where, you, Pobelter, and Golden Glue, there seemed to only be one spot available for any of you three?
Yusui, Blaze Olive, throwing in the other two academy names, Siligo, I guess.
Like, what do I think, that there's only one spot left?
Or yeah, what do you think of your situation and, like, the NA mid plight?
I mean, I think it's a really big, like, thing, because first of all, I don't think it's like some crazy, like, everyone should be up in arms, like, lighting LCS on fire. I think it's a little weird that instead of the NA players, like especially, I mean, I think that it's actually insane to me that Pobelter doesn't have a team. I think I mean, for PO Box, he's won multiple titles. He's been playing LCS for like the last 5 years, and he played one bad split, I think, in the last 5 years. Like one, like, I mean, I don't even know how bad it really was. Like it individual performance only comes down to like how well your team is doing at the time, anyways. So it's interesting for me that PO Box didn't get a team because, I mean, you should look at this guy as like an NA player. He has so much experience, played with all the best players. It's very weird to me that he didn't get a team. But then when you go to like players like me and Golden Glue, I think it makes more sense, right? Because we're still new, we're still not like entirely proven. So it's weird with that. But I think what most people are like upset about is the fact that it's like kind of like, not, I wouldn't say random. Like these players are known. Like some of the new players that are getting moved in, getting jobs that are not like known names that haven't proved themselves in for like a long time, are getting starting jobs over players who are like grinding NA or NA Academy all the time, or have even played LCS prior. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Any other questions, Mark, before we just hop into calls?
Let's get right into it. We got a hot call right up.
Oh, you've already been pulling people. All right. Do you want to explain? Well, I guess you've already pulled people.
Yeah, I've been pulling people because it's pretty popping already.
Okay.
But I only have like 4 people, so there'll be a lot more coming in.
So just so everyone knows, we're going to pull some people for Damonte, and then after Damonte leaves, we'll open it up to conversations that are a little less Damonte or NA mid or NA whatever oriented, and so we'll pull some more people there. Mark is spamming the Discord right now in chat, but if you're listening online, by the way, or in the VOD or podcast, you can always join discord.gg/Travis. That's my Discord. And if you are a sub, first off, thank you for being a sub. If you're listening online, feel free to go sub on my channel. I won't see it until later, but you can also join the subtopics channel and put your topic in there. That moves a little slower, so it gives you a bit of a better chance. Mark, do you want to go grab our first person?
Sure.
Right. Off. Mark goes to grab somebody. How stressful has this been for you, Damonte? What's the last couple of weeks been like for you?
I mean, it's been stressful, but I've like looked at it like, what can I do? What can I do about it? You know, I already did everything I could in the past year to show my worth to everyone. So, I mean, I'm just like thinking to myself that whatever happens, happens. I just got to keep playing better, you know?
There was a thread today that said, or in one of the threads today, people were saying that you found out from Hotline League, which I think would have been last week or maybe the week before, whenever I said that I heard that you weren't going to be on Dig anymore. Is that how you found out?
No, that's not how I found out. No.
Okay. Just wanted to correct that.
No, Dig let me know. Like they were pretty professional about it.
Okay, cool. Embers is here. Embers, where are you calling from?
Phoenix, Arizona, actually.
Phoenix, Arizona. How's the weather over in Phoenix?
It's finally nice. Usually it's blistering hot, but it's cooling down now.
Nice. It's not freezing yet.
No. I mean, it's freezing for me. So
Gotcha.
It's like only 70 degrees, but that's really cold for me. So.
Gotcha. Well, what do you want to talk about in the show tonight?
Yeah. So my topic is kind of pretty much about responsibility, I guess. Like, I feel like there's a lot of responsibility that people within the NA community kind of don't ever talk about. So one thing would be like NA orgs specifically, as well as League of Legends celebrities such as your guys' self. I don't think you actively try and do this, but I do think you guys have a responsibility that you're not upholding. Possibly.
All
So it's
right.
kind
What
of a
is
hot
it?
take. So, for example, like when the topic of imports come up, a lot of the times, for example, like people, your guys' self, Kelby, Loco Doco, even Steve has suggested that like pretty much if you had a full NA roster, it'd be last place. And then also, for example, when NA people do use like NA Academy players, like UC was used in Echo Fox, as well as Scuglio was used in Hunter T. There's no context given to them or benefit of the doubt given to them when they have poor showing. So most notably, like, UC was thrown in and like it was pretty much a mess. And then same thing with Hunter T, the roster blew up and then it was a mess. They were never given any credit by analysts, which is really unfortunate. And I mean, there is only so much time on the LCS desk and broadcast that you can bring up these topics, but they're kind of just never brought up again. So
Yeah, so I think one thing that's worth pointing out is 2 years ago, I've been thinking about this a lot. It's actually less than 2 years ago. Golden Guardians, when they first came in, they picked up an all-NA roster. And they kind of embraced, like, hey, we're going to do the all-NA thing.
Yeah, I was happy for it. Sorry.
Yes. Then they got last place, and they got memed to shit, and everyone said, why would you do an all-NA roster? And they got flamed to hell for it. And I think that's a difficult situation, right? Because so somewhat I agree with you, right? In that the sort of narrative sometimes is shaped around what the personalities are saying. But it's also really hard because I think the community as well, when they see teams take a chance on all-NA rosters, they react very negatively if that roster doesn't do very well. Well, so why are you as an NA org going, oh, Mark, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say well, I'll let you finish your little thing first.
I was going to say, why would you as an NA org take the risk on an all-NA roster if you, one, are risking your success, and two, if you don't do well, you're going to get flamed to shit, you know? Mark, what are you saying?
I was going to take a different tact rather than talk about the org. So unless, obviously there's a lot to talk about. The whole responsibility of personalities is, I think, ridiculous on the very grounds that, like, no one as a professional should take my opinion on this fucking show or the analyst desk for their own scouting. You know, I don't watch scrims. I'm not privy to that information. I'm not one of the players playing against them every single day. So if you are letting me shape your narrative as a GM, you're fucking awful.
Can I make a comment on that? I would say that the GMs in general are pretty awful, though. Honestly.
Yeah, but it's not my job to do it for them. I'm going to say what I see. I'm not gonna hype up certain people so that they start paying attention to them. Do your job. I'm gonna do mine. I'm doing mine.
You're right, and I mean, like I said, I don't mean it as like an unintentional or like as an offense to you guys. I love your guys' work and everything. It's just I think that GMs don't do their job, and so like unfortunately that if they're not going to be doing their jobs correctly. Like for the response to the Golden Guardians roster, I think that was a piss poor all NA roster. I mean, I could name a whole NA roster that I think would at least get middle of the road and not be memed to death.
Sure, but are they?
Yeah, but
anybody could do that. But how you? Like, that's not the way it works. There's trades and there's roster, there's contracts, there's all this stuff. Like, you can't just, like, right now, yes, I could create an amazing roster. Doublelift would be in the 80 carry position, no surprise to anybody. But like, he's under contract with TL for another year, right? So you can't just like snap your fingers and do that. Also, I want to try to find. Hang on, where's their roster from that year? Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, obviously, I'm hamming it up because I'm on an entertainment show. So people who think like, this is how I would normally have this conversation. It's not. I'm on a show, 4,000 people watching on Twitch chat. I'm gonna go ham. But I don't think it is our responsibility to go scout and then in the middle of the analyst desk segment or something be like, yeah, really poor showing so far this split by X import mid laner. They should really go look at this guy on some random team that they have no chance of getting at this point in the season, but I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about them when no one else is talking about it. That's just not what our jobs are. And so, like, that's what they should be doing. And I thought I saw in your post about maybe it was someone else, but I thought you were talking about some of the responsibility orgs to try and like actually give players good opportunities. Which
that is actually a part of it too. So you are an org, you have academy players, you should be doing things that like should be expected essentially of all orgs, which are like tryouts. Talking to players, psychology, like, so for example, if I'm building a team and I have Dardoch, someone who wants to play aggro, shouldn't I be picking players that enable that? It just seems like overall, in general, there's a whole orgs don't take responsibility. Orgs have poor GMs. They're not trying out new GMs, and then coaches aren't enabled. I mean, there's a whole list of things, but it all starts with orgs, and orgs aren't really taking responsibility for that.
Damonte.
Yeah, I was going to throw to him.
Yeah, based off your time previously in academy and challenger scene stuff. What do you think of the structure of the orgs in terms of their practice, the resources they give you to improve, whether that's the coaching feedback? Like, do you think that stuff's actually well developed in North America?
Well, I feel like actually the academy system has gotten kind of worse over time. I think because I played in the very first ever academy split, and then after that I played in LCS. So when like my split, I played in Echo Fox, and the entire. I mean, I was in a very unique spot because we did the 10-man internal things that like within Echo Fox. So it was like but actually that was that was actually not academy. That was still when Challenger Series was a thing actually. And then the first academy split, everyone was like really, really excited to do academy, and then it seemed like really good. It was a pretty competitive split, and then just like over time, it seems like the orgs have just stopped caring as much, and you see more teams that like have maybe no coach or a budget coach or like someone who doesn't know anything, or like you have 5 players who probably don't know, like you don't even know if some of those players should be there, and it seems like over time it's like orgs just feel like they need to give minimum salary to these players, and then that way they can just save budget for their main team.
Which teams and which players? Name and shame, Damonte.
Well, I'll give you one. Team Liquid. No offense to Michael Archer, he's a great guy, and by all accounts that I can tell, a great manager. But they just gave him that position after they fired their coach. And then no offense to the players on that roster, but some of the guys there.
So it's funny you say that. I have an interview that was supposed to go up today with Steve where he talks about how they're doubling down on Academy this year, and I believe the Schernfire pickup today.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, but if you look at some of the stuff that happened last year, and for somewhat you can argue, I think, an okay reason that there's not great incentive for the number 1 org in the league to invest in academy. Like none of those guys are getting a shot over any of their starters. So I think you can at least argue as well for a team like Team Liquid, it's not their job to do that shit, really. So I'm not flaming their decision making or anything. And like I said, I'm not flaming Artress. I'm just saying that like that's clearly not a team dedicated to building new talent in a league that's supposed to be existing to grow new talent.
I mean, I think the biggest issue though is that the winning academy or getting high ranking in academy has meant like less and less as it went on, because you started getting like these rosters that have a lot of like ex-pro players or like ex-LCS players, I'd say. And then like literally the 100 Thieves academy team that won the academy title, right? They had Someday on their team. And then just because they had Someday on their team, no one cares about the other 4 players on that academy roster, even though they're all like pretty solid players, right? And it's like super fucked up for those players that they're just in this situation where they're trying their ass off, but then no one cares that they just won academy because they're just like, oh my God, Someday carried them. And like how much of that is true, you might be able to like argue it, right? But it just blows that that's what academy has come to, because you go back in the very first academy split, the finals were it was Echo Fox Academy versus FlyQuest Academy, and I'm pretty sure like 3 or 4 of those players all went to LCS after that. And then everyone was like, wow, academy is hella sick, because these players, they worked hella hard this whole split, and then after that they all got their chance. But now it doesn't seem like that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to a GM like a week or 2 ago about it, and he was saying that like his experience with academy was that like half the scrims get canceled. People are kind of like wasting their time, not really doing, not players necessarily, but like there's not much like it's not like the coaches aren't given authority, it's they just don't know what to do with it. I think a couple players I've talked to, veterans especially, feel like the coaches are like given like way too much power in North America, rather than acting as like a 6th member of the team or like trying to help things on rails. They're expected to like provide answers rather than ask the right questions, and a lot of them don't have the right answers, so you're getting like bullshit feedback sometimes. And like that's a problem in the LCS from coaches I've heard, or like analysts and stuff, let alone like what's in the academy system. And so you aren't getting productive scrim time, like just from a structural standpoint about people canceling and whatnot, as well as if you're getting actually good feedback and coaching. And then like you're saying, it seems like the orgs themselves have been less interested in using it in the way it was initially set up. Hopefully it's changing this split, but
too much time on this call. But I assume, Mark, do we have another academy person?
I think we have a couple other people. I guess my point with that topic was there are so many fucking problems on the org side that me hyping up Fragus or Saligo or Tactical is not going to fix any of the problem. To the caller's point about responsibilities and where they lie, I think it falls very heavily on the people who actually make these decisions and the people who talk about them.
But do you think, Mark, that if there was more, so now I think there is more pressure. For the first time ever, I actually think teams might start feeling more pressure to pick up NA players from like a brand perspective. Like if like 100 Thieves is going to take some shit for not picking up an NA player, especially if Ryoma doesn't pan out. And the same thing for Immortals. And like it's one thing whenever you can say like, look, we're bringing in Faker or some other high profile mid laner, but whenever it feels like there's a chance it's being taken on a player that isn't high profile from another one of these regions, and they're taking an import slot and they're potentially taking, pitting a Damonte or Po Belter there. I'm curious if you feel, Mark, as though we as personalities and as figures, if we were more positive about NA players, we would create more of a conversation in the community where these teams felt more pressure to pick up NA players and NA talent and try to grow them.
I saw Damonte's mic light up. Were you saying something, or was that like a hiccup?
Oh, it was nothing. Yeah.
Okay.
I could talk if you want.
No, I'll answer Travis's question first. I personally feel like we have done that to some degree. Like to the caller, he brought up when Yasui was put in on Echo Fox. I hated that move because I didn't feel like they were putting him in a position to ever show anything positive. That team was a bit of a dumpster fire, and I said that on the LCS. I said it on here, I'm pretty sure, and I was like, well, I hope he gets another crack, because what I always said was if you put a young player in a doom situation, it's just going to set them back further than it helps. Stage time, I don't think is as good at is valuable when you're getting wrecked on stage in a bad situation. So, I mean, I think we have talked about this. I know another GM as well has told me, they're like, hey, thanks for flaming us about our academy decisions and saying we didn't care when we did, because from the outside it looked like they didn't to me, but I had it wrong. But like, it's hard to try to, like you're saying, to somewhat pressure these orgs into treating it a certain way, because inevitably you're going to have to speak in specifics. And then, I made a list of 15 academy players. I don't know why they're still getting shots when I looked at the summer rosters from last split. And unless I'm going to name drop people, it's just going to be flaming, right? And then that's not really...
Sure, but you could do the opposite. You could highlight, 10 players from the academy that you think should get a shot.
Does anyone not know who those 10 players are? Who works at an organizational level?
No, but I think the argument, right, is that if you and I, and by the way, I'm not saying I necessarily believe this, I'm just sort of following through with the caller's like, if you or I or the broadcaster or others are able to say, why isn't this player getting a shot? It creates community pressure. Like right now, Damonte's in a great position. I know it doesn't feel that way, but he's in a great position because if any team picked him up for the LCS roster right now, even if they did it like within the first couple of weeks of out the split, there's going to be a ton of community sentiment that's like, yeah, we're getting the guy, right?
Yeah, but I think I could add to that though. It's like if a player gets brought on and everyone's like, "Oh my god, I love his brand," and then it's not about his play at all, it feels so garbage. By the way, and that's been my biggest tripe.
But wouldn't you like to be on an LCS team like? If it was one or the other.
No, I mean, if I'm too shit to be on an LCS team, then I'm too shit to be on an LCS team. I don't think it should be some like give this guy a pity job because his brand is good. Like,
right. Yeah. Look, hang on. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying...
Oh, no, I don't think you're attacking me either. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. I'm not saying anybody needs a pity job. I'm just saying if Mark or other people, and I guess this is a whole other topic, which maybe we'll get into with one of these other academy talks, but if there is actual talent in academy that should be pulled up and people are not taking it, then maybe it would behoove us as personalities to highlight that talent so that people start talking about them on Reddit, so people start talking about them on social media, and teams have, they're not necessarily making a brand risk in order to bring that talent on, and they can maybe then, that player gets an opportunity to prove themselves on the big stage.
All right, but that has one of those things where it's like, yes, we can do that, but then what's the next step? You bring them on after me and Azael or like, broadcast team makes concert after hype this guy up, and he lays a turd. Now this person gets flamed super hard. Our credibility is in doubt because we were saying things that we might not have actually believed, but we were trying to create hype. I don't think
only said if you believe it then. Is there a talent in Academy you think should be starting on LCS?
I think that there is talent that should probably be starting on some of the teams that aren't, but not because I think they're like actually better than the other people are right now.
Why do you think they should be starting?
I think that's a huge, that makes so much sense. Like, I think so many of the imports in the NLCS are actually like really, really damn good, and there's a reason that they're here, right? And then what the people have like issue with it is when some of the imports come over that are not like huge names or like are not smurfing, or like some of the imports that are in the NLCS and they're here for a long time, and like they've proven that they're not they're not
going to get you to Worlds or something.
Yeah, they're not like amazing players who's going to 1v9 for your team. But some of the imports are, and they deserve to have a job here and make like 6 figures, 7 figures as long as they can.
I mean, like, take a guy like PoE, right? Like, I think he's really good. And if you ask me to stack him up against the best Academy mid laners, which are Yasui, Ablaze Olive, and Golden Glue, I would say he's probably better than all of them. But I would also make the case that what we've seen from PoE, you could say that he's not gonna 1v9 like Damonte is saying and carry you to Worlds or anything like that. And so you can make the case, hey, if he's not going to do that, give a shot to one of these guys. But as an org, I'm not sure that if I was the one making the decisions that I would necessarily be down to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Or I mean, and I'm not saying PoE's bad by any means. I'm just saying they didn't get to Worlds the 2 years he's been here. I'm literally stating a fact, not an opinion. Right? So you could give these opportunities to younger Academy players to try and develop them, but that's what Academy system should be doing on its own if people were using it correctly. And that's where I think the real problem lies, is more about how Academy is being utilized and trained with, rather than like, hey, take X mid laner who's actually better than them still, but get rid of them just because let's give these guys a shot, which you can do. I mean, I'm not saying it's outright wrong, but I mean, you're probably going to lose more games because of it, with the hope that this guy doesn't get poached from you in a year if he develops.
Yeah.
Embers, did we went on a lot of tangents here, but do you feel like we addressed your topic?
Yeah, for the most part, I think so. If I can, I guess, like, make a final comment.
Yeah, sure. Your dogs have a strong opinion about this situation.
Yeah, apparently. So sorry. Yeah, one of them's really loud. I have 3 actually. Anyways, no, yeah, I think you guys addressed it pretty well. I'd like to say that I guess I just think orgs, one, don't take Academy very seriously, which you guys did address. And I think too that, for example, like PoE is a good example where I think you could say that maybe trying out an Academy player and then developing them more. Like a Blaze Olive, maybe he's bad for one split, but the second split he could become really good. And if they play around him, I mean, I'd argue even Damonte wasn't played around in clutch, and he could be a lot better than what he showed, and he's not in LCS, which is kind of sad to me, at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. I think it is sad. Thanks so much for your call. Anything you want to shout out or plug, Ember?
No, thank you guys for doing this, and check out. I hope more people watch your content, and shout out to Alienware.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, moving on to the next call.
Wait, actually, can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Did you see the Reddit thread?
You say it while Mark grabs the other caller. Is that okay?
Wait, no, I want to hear. I don't want to.
There was a Reddit thread talking about like a bunch of stats from a bunch of different players recently. I don't remember when it was, but I think that's a huge. I don't know. I'm sure people do that in other regions and stuff. But if you look at stats from a lot of like the best players, they're actually just so garbage in like some like random stats, and it's so good in some other ones. And it's like so funny that everyone cares about laning stats in ALCS when that's not how the game.
Oh, I saw your tweet about that.
The game has evolved so far
past
like laning. Right? It's like absurd, and like I swear to God, this is like a huge issue with the mid laners in LCS at the moment. Is that so many people are not playing the way that like you watch like a lot of the Chinese players play, or the European, like the best European mids do. And I think that's actually been holding back the region for the last 2 years.
I super agree. Once again, we can't. I don't know if we want to name drop, but there's a lot of.
No, I mean I'm not going to name any names, but this also goes back to the. obviously I don't know anything about how general managers work and stuff like that, but I'm sure they look at stats, right? That only makes sense. And I'm sure some decisions are made off of stats. And I don't like there needs to be, I mean, who knows? I don't know enough about it. So
I was talking with Travis about this. Damonte, has any team ever contacted you to talk about a previous teammate?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like how frequently do you think that happens? If you had to guess.
Pretty frequently.
Yeah, you think so?
Well,
okay.
Mark, your
That's
whole
good.
argument and rant is you just
not quite.
saved us 5 minutes, Damonte.
You saved us 5 minutes because I have a theory that most teams don't do proper due diligence about interviewing other players and what they like to play with, especially more importantly with imports. I was asking if anyone had regional talent scouts, and the answer is no.
We have a bunch of callers to go, and we've only taken one so far. So
yeah, well, it was a
don't get another caller, Mark. We're gonna lose Damonte soon. He says he has a hard out at 9.
Popcorn show where we go, oh yeah, interesting take, and then we.
He has a hard out at 9.
I can stay till like 9:10. I'll do it for you.
We've got 10 more minutes. Thank you for the extra 10 minutes, Damonte. Do you are you going out tonight? You doing something, or you just want to hop in a solo queue?
I have a call.
You have a call?
Yes.
Why don't we just take the call on the show? This is a call-in show. We could just take this call.
Who I'm calling would appreciate that.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Why don't you check with them? Say, hey, I'm on Hotline League right now. Travis says you could call in, and we'll have our discussion right here. People are all spamming SKT Pog.
I guess it's
SKT.
It is a call-in show. So.
Actually, that would be sick if you had told everyone, like you tweeted, I'm not going to be participating in LCS next year, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's all sad. And then you're like, because I'm going to LCK, baby.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. Make it happen. New coma. Chad is super excited about it. By the way, I'm going to read out the subs later on, folks. So that'll happen. I apologize that we're not doing it yet, but we've got so many folks coming in. We're waiting on Mark. Mark's going to pull somebody in a second. I know you guys all say Mark is muted. It's because he's talking in the other channel. Here we go.
Yo.
How do you pronounce your name?
Udisov.
Udisov. Udisov, where are you calling from?
Sydney, Australia.
Sydney, Australia. I love it when we get the Australian colors. What do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
Okay, so...
by the way, are you excited about all these Oceanic players coming to NA?
Oh, dude, I'm a pro here in Australia, so yeah, I'm happy for all my fellas and friends going over.
Are you?
Yeah.
What team do you play for?
I play for Direwolves.
Gotcha. Hey, well, what do you want to talk about on the show?
Okay, so I was gonna say, all of the minor region players coming over from OS and even closer from Turkey is actually gonna make NA solo queue a lot better, and I think it'll actually be really good for you guys in your region.
Right. Hang on, I think I have a picture of you that I can pull up.
Okay,
so you're saving. So we're gonna be saved by the Oceania and Turkey.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Why aren't we only pulling a couple people? Is this going to be enough?
Well, in theory, people could do it for Academy too, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because now you brought over, for example, you got Shern as well, and I've heard more like that. There's still time for more players to come over. Like I'm hearing rumors over here and things like that, and who
are you hearing? What are the rumors?
Well, I don't know.
Are you
one
of the rumors? Are you coming over?
No. Well, hey, if anyone's in the chat right now, if any of the owners are
you currently contracted to a team? Because I don't think you're technically able to say that.
No. I just hit free agency. I'm all good.
Okay, you're a free agent. All right. Why should people pick you up? Let's turn this into a marketing push for you.
Okay, baby.
We only have Damonte for a little bit, Travis. He has a hard out at 9.
We're trying to get this man a job.
I'll quickly plug this. All right, so my boy Shern just came over to TL, and Shern was, I guess, my mentor. He's brought me up through the ropes, and basically, I played at Worlds. I got 2 games in. We got a win, and then I versed EDG, and Clearlove smacked me around. But yeah, that's my plug. I got Worlds experience, and take me to NA, baby.
Gotcha. So you've been to NA you've been to Worlds as often as Damonte.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
All right, so let's. I know we only have Damonte for a little bit. So you think that this is? I like that this is, by the way, somewhat of a self-serving pitch on your part, because you're like, yeah, you know, if people should bring us over. We'll improve solo queue. Is it enough to bring over a couple of these players? Damonte, do you think us bringing over some Turkish and Oceanic pros are going to help improve solo queue?
I mean, it definitely helps because they're like better than the average challenger player. I hope if they're getting imported to NA. So like it's gonna help the first couple months of the games, right? But then once they realize they're playing on 70 ping and every like I'm pretty sure like half of the new players in solo queue that play in challenger games are just trying to like have a personality in stream, and then they just realize and play with these players, and they're just like, wow, this really blows, and then they stop trying as hard.
Gotcha. Mark.
Yes.
Is it enough?
I don't know.
That's my problem. Is I have a hard time imagining it's gonna be like, how many are we gonna pull over realistically next year?
I mean, anything that moves the needle.
Well, that's my point. Does it actually move the needle?
Probably a little bit, and as
like
well as
like a centimeter.
Yeah, let's move it that little bit, and then maybe it also helps with academy. You know, if there's some dope ass OPL, Turkish, TCL, you know, LATAM players, and we can bring them into academy, and they're slightly better, and the existing academy players, then that's also good because it's just raising the quality of competition all around. So I see it as like there's not significant downsides. You know, and if it improves solo queue as well, great. The only thing you get concerned about is if people are bringing in too many and then there's no room for NA talent, but I doubt that's the case.
Yasui in chat says, what if we all go to Oceanic instead and enjoy the 8 ping solo queue? That's his plan. So we, instead of bringing them all here, we go to them.
Dude, let's just all go to Chicago. Just move LCS to Chicago, guys.
Don't give Reddit any ideas. I hate seeing those threads. All right. So it sounds like we all agree it's going to help out. How much is it going to help out, though, is the question. And you guys seem to say, like, maybe a little. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say this is like NA's making worlds next year with all these OPL players in our academy system and helping out solo queue, but I don't know, fuck man, we need all the help we can get.
Udisoft, is LCS now, especially with the academy changes, is this going to become like, is this a goal for you as an Oceanic player or for other Oceanic players to quote unquote graduate up to LCS?
Yeah, it's pretty much like everyone's goal here at the moment. I'm pretty sure like we get like paid literally in like, I don't know, food and a house. And yeah, so we definitely want to come over for sure.
Yeah. Well, according to the Tainted Mind story, sometimes it's not even that much food and it's kind of a shitty house.
Hey, you ain't wrong about that, baby.
So does this kill like the, like, it's interesting because we're gonna OS has a chance to make it to Worlds, group stage, etc., but if we're just draining all their talent, isn't this kind of killing the competitiveness of your region?
Oh yeah, it's awful for us, definitely, but I'm just saying it's good for you guys because, like, I brought up the topic because it'll make you guys better because of how I feel solo queue's gotten here. It's like, it's just dropped because all the top players that we have are going to you guys, and they're the ones grinding solo queue here. So now they're missing from solo queue. You know, we need 10 players for a good solo queue game. Now we've just dropped those players, so now we have like maybe 5 players, and then I don't know, some randoms. And yeah, just the games drop here, so it should be boosted there.
Thanks. Well, sorry to hear it, but we suck, so we have to shore up as much as we can. Either way, anything you want to say as we move on to the next caller?
Thanks for having me on. Support me in the OPL next year, fellas, and cheers.
Yeah, thanks so much. Have a good one.
Yeah, bye.
All right, Mark, we've got maybe 20 more minutes, a little bit less. Oh, he's already gone to grab the next person.
It's just me and you now, Travis.
Damonte, are you start having a grudge against Australians?
No, dude, I love Australians. They all try really hard, actually.
Is that true?
Yeah, they're all like really. Every Australian player I've like met in solo queue or talked to is just like tries really, really damn hard. They're super humble and they're just like, I mean, they're good. I love Australian like LCS players and like academy players.
Nice.
Might as well, honestly, dude. Just consider them NA, but same OCE thing. Like, you know, I don't know. It's not,
Yeah,
it's way different than like bring a Korean or European player over.
You've been hanging out with an arrow a lot, I can tell.
Yeah. No, I don't like that guy. Wait, when are people gonna start importing the Chinese players? Chinese LCS or LPL is the best region.
Hello. I'm back.
Welcome back. We have our next caller here. It's Proximate Galaxy. Is that how you say it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Wait, did you call in before, or did you tweet it? Why does your name seem familiar?
I just subbed today.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why. I remember my subs. Everyone else should also sub. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Montana.
Montana. I didn't know there was anybody left there.
There's like 5 of us.
5. All right.
My mom is from Montana.
Thank you for the fact. What is your take? What do you want to share with us?
So the way I see it, Sneaky is our NA's hottest. I'm not gonna say free agent because I don't know if he technically is, but he's our hottest available player at the moment.
So he's not a free agent, to be clear.
Right. But he's the hottest available player since Cloud9 has they have him up for trades and whatnot. So I think the 2 teams that would benefit most from picking him up would be Dignitas or 100 Thieves.
Did you know that Damonte, who's a guest on the show right now and is in this call, is also available?
No offense, Damonte. I love you.
Okay.
Right. And I hope you do find a team, man. Good luck on that.
So you think Sneaky should join 100 Thieves? Have they announced their AD yet?
There's a rumor about Cody Sun being traded from Dig, but that hasn't been confirmed from anywhere I've seen. It's just a rumor at the moment.
Okay. I have heard Cody as well. So I have not heard Sneaky is headed to 100T, but you would like to see that happen.
Yeah, obviously there's the Meteos jungle there, that you've got some pre-existing synergy. You're bringing the boys back together. And beyond that, I think the atmospheres of both 100 Thieves and Dignitas, and I assume Damonte can speak to the atmosphere of Dignitas a bit more, but I think they'd fit kind of with Sneaky's more like laid back and chill personality more than like a super rigid team, at least for something like TSM or Team Liquid, where like 100 Thieves and Dig just seem like the laid back teams, and I think Sneaky would work really well with them.
So is this our Sneaky call for the night, Mark?
Yeah, it should be.
Okay. I'm going to throw it to Damonte first. Damonte, what do you think of Sneaky, and if he'd be a good fit to play with Stunt and Beyond 100 Thieves and et cetera, et cetera?
I mean, it's hard to talk too much on it because I don't have any experience playing with him, but anytime I play against him in LCS, he seems pretty damn good. So it's like, I'm sure he should have a home somewhere, is like what I believe.
Okay.
Also, you were talking about how like the atmospheres on teams or like Sneaky's laid back. You also like can never know how a player truly is just based off like their stream personality, because like competitive is way different than when you're streaming. Like maybe he's actually like a turbo tryhard, and he just, it's like like polar opposite. So
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's interesting because I remember I talked to Jack maybe like a year and a half ago, or maybe I forget when it was, but he was basically like, oh yeah, Sneaky's like such a great asset, not just because he's great, but his overall personality, and like how he works in a team setting. It's like that was really interesting to hear, but at the same time, it seems like I don't know if that changed or the players around him changed or what, but just like looking at the dynamic from the behind the scenes videos, it was clear that like the team didn't get along well, or like it seemed like they didn't get along well between all the players. So who knows? Because that's the other thing too. That's what I was gonna say about your point, was like you don't know what people are like exactly behind the scenes. They can also change. Like people can be really cool and useful and awesome to play with a certain group of people, and then there's like personality clashes, and they're really different from this other group of people, and they don't work as well. So it's just one of those things where things can change. You never know.
So I want to move on to our next caller rather quickly. So I'm just going to say this, and then we can maybe do a quick follow-up. But I want to make sure we get more people in as Monte's here. The thing about Sneaky, so I challenge Reddit to think about it, and Twitter and all the other channels to think about this, because I think I'm happy, Proximate, that you called in and you said he's a free agent. I think it's really important because I think a lot of people think he is a free agent, but he's not. He's still signed to C9. And so the big question isn't why isn't anyone picking up Sneaky, but what would it take to pick up Sneaky, in my mind. So for instance, let's say, so we know from this offseason that Jack sold a lot of his roster to EG for a considerable sum of money, and he supposedly acquired Vulcan for a very considerable sum of money. So Sneaky being, I think, is he going to All-Stars? If not, he's like in the top 5 voting at one point in time. And also being this consistent player, he should command a pretty big price tag. So if you're Jack, I don't think you're going to trade Sneaky unless you're going to get paid a good amount for him and for his contract. And so that's what is very interesting to me is people are looking at the face value of Sneaky himself, when I think if you're a GM, you're not just thinking of Sneaky, you're also thinking of the cost of acquiring his contract as you're making this decision. And maybe Reddit and all these places don't care about that, and maybe they actually do care about it, but they're saying, well, you should pay millions of dollars to acquire Sneaky. But I think that's a factor that I think a lot of people should be considering, because I cannot imagine that Jack is going out to market with Sneaky's contract for less than $1 million. I would be surprised, especially when you look at the pricing of other players' contracts over the past couple of weeks as that stuff has started to kind of leak out. So I think it's really important that people consider that. So maybe you're right, Proximate, and like 100 Thieves should acquire Sneaky, but I also would just challenge people to consider the cost of the acquisition.
And that's another reason why I think 100 Thieves might be a good place, because they definitely have shown in the past that they're willing to kind of spend those big bucks. And from what, at least from Jack's most recent statement on the situation, that they are willing to trade for him, or at least they're not trying to get rid of him, but they're at least, you know, it's not a situation where they're having to convince Jack to get rid of him. They have a replacement. They're wanting, you know, either him on Academy or for him to find another team. So go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I just hope the end scenario isn't like Sneaky in contract hell, because that's like the ultimate worst fuck everything kind of outcome of all of this.
And I think it is important to remember, because I've seen a couple people making fun of me for being a Sneaky fan, but I think it is important to remember that, like, well, you can meme on him for not playing as well. Maybe this last split, he did have the top damage per minute at the last World Championship. And, like, if you actually look at the breakdown of the individual games that he played, I can't think of a single performance that was, like, so bad that it significantly drops his value as a player. So I think he is still going to be, again, not a free agent, to clarify, but he's the hottest, like, player that's on the market. And I really think any team that can afford him and doesn't try to buy him out by any means is going to be at a loss because of it. Because I think him added to a team can easily make a team a top 3 roster as long as he's got good supporting pieces.
I would just say that at this point in time, I'd be surprised if he starts week 1 of LCS. Not because I think he shouldn't, but because I think, like, the C9 has a starting AD, TSM does, TL does, CLG does, IMT is rumored to be starting All-Tech. You could argue maybe they shouldn't. Have they announced that lineup yet?
No, not officially.
Okay, well, maybe, I don't know if that's out there, or like if ESPN said anything about it or whatever, but I've heard All-Tech. Johnson is supposedly starting at Dig. Cody's been reported to go to 100T. That's also what I've heard. Wild Turtles at FlyQuest. Bang is at EG. And then we have, who did Golden Guardians announce? Because I haven't filled that in yet.
FBI?
Oh, yeah. They're keeping FBI. So I think that, like, that is what is super interesting to me, is like, I'm looking at a list of slots that look like they're already filled in. Maybe last minute something changes, but I don't know.
Well, again, so if Cody Sun is going to 100 Thieves, then Dig still needs a 80 carry. As far as I'm aware, I haven't heard anything rumored for Dig. And if Dig doesn't give up Cody Sun, then 100 Thieves still needs an 80 carry. And I think something that could put a deal on hold, like the Dig 100 Thieves Cody Sun trade, is them being in talks with Sneaky as a player to acquire him.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But is there anything you want to shout out before we move on to the final? Are you okay over there, Mark?
Yeah, I'm great. What's up?
He thinks he's funny.
Is there anything you want to shout out before we move on to the last caller before of Damonte's stay here?
I mean, as always, shout out to Travis, shout out to the sponsors. It's great to be on the show, and yeah, great to be here, guys.
Well, thanks so much for calling in. All right,
One
we'll
more.
do one more call with Damonte, and then we'll switch and we'll take our sponsor. Damonte, since I know you're gonna have to run off the call quickly, is there anything you want to say to anybody out there? Shout out stuff. Where can people find you? I think you were streaming today.
I'm pretty much Damonte on everything that's useful. T.Damonte on Instagram, if that's what you're asking me.
Gotcha. Tom Shu is here. Welcome back, Tom Shu.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Oh, Tom
Pretty
Shu,
good.
my boy.
Thanks for
I know,
being a
right?
Twitch sub. What do you want to talk about? Or sorry, remind me where you're calling from.
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. And what do you want to talk about on the show tonight?
Okay, so let's talk about the current state of LCS politics and how it's just entirely, completely messed up beyond belief. Like, we've been seeing tweets from different players, like, going like, oh, there's no trials, there's nothing going on. And then people start importing these players, and it seems like there's just no rhyme or reason to it. Like, we're getting to, like, frickin'... Like, why are we using import slots on, like, Ica or Ryoma? I'm going to have to ask management or anyone who's, like, important to, like, Trump stream, because I'm about to start flaming some people. Why are we importing, like, 23-year-old B-League French mid laners in, like, OCE nobodies? It just makes no sense to me. Is it just, like, because they're French and he's Zabutin's boy, and because Ryoma is Papa Smithy's boy? It just makes no sense. Like, I could understand if you imported Magic Felix or something, or Larson, but this dude? Come on, man. You've got to be kidding me. And it's like, it all seems to be just about who gets the spot, is about, like, who is the person that you know. Unless you, like, know some guy or who's your boy, or you, like, jack enough people off during the off season. That's the only time you're ever going to get a team, and it makes no sense. Like, am I the only one who feels this way?
All right,
I'm
well,
so
let's
happy you're
throw
here.
immediately to Damonte.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why people are mad in the first place, is, like, everything you just said. And, like, I mean, you just got to realize that the repercussions that are going to come with the decisions that they've made can be, like, huge. So you just, like, you got to let it play out. And that's why, like, I'm not sitting here stressed out over, like, oh my God, I don't have an LCS job. It's just, like, I'm going to wait and see what happens. Maybe these guys are actually good. I can't say anything. I mean, it's like maybe like Soaz and Ica is going to have, like, insane synergy together or something like that.
If Ica was so good, he'd be in LEC. It's like, Damonte, did you not jack up enough people to get on LCS?
We don't need to. We can pull
Let's keep
back.
this. I like Damonte's attitude though, like, to be confident. Like, I don't think these are gonna work out, and like in a couple weeks, someone's gonna be calling for my ass.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much. I mean that's how everyone has to just sit here and wait. That's like that's actually just the lifestyle of the NA mid. Is you just sit there, you hope you sign to the academy team with the mid laner who's, like, gonna play the worst or, like, not play well, and then that's how you get your spot. Because all the imports that are coming from the other regions are probably better than all the NA players, like most of them. It's just, like, the sad truth. But I agree with you. It's quite strange that the decisions that 100 Thieves and Immortals have made, but you just have to wait and see. And if they get a lot of shit from it, then they're gonna have to deal with the consequences.
Do
I
you
don't know.
think
It
to
just
the
feels
callers?
It just feels awful because people are just people complain about mids being like NA mids being thrown in these bad situations, like Yasui going in Echo Fox and Saligo going in 100 Thieves, of course, only after the current mids completely bust out. So it's like, what are you supposed to do if you're just going to sit there waiting for your chance? And I know you have to make the best of a bad situation, but it's just this impossible cycle, and nothing's ever going to change until management gets some sense.
So,
okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you. Damonte, do you feel, to the caller's point, to Tom Shoe's point, that it is incredibly political? Is it a political situation? Like, is it about who you know and the relationships that you have that get you the spots?
I mean, not entirely. It definitely depends more on your play. But if you have like someone, like if someone joins a team and he's like considered like if someone gets signed on the first day of free agency, that means that they're a very valuable player. And if that person has a high opinion of someone else that maybe everyone else doesn't think is good, he's probably still going to get the job there just because that's the first player they got signed. And like he's like, I think this guy's good. Like he's like recommending to whoever. Like, that's probably
Papa Smithy in the chat right now. He's putting a thinking emoji. Anyway,
can we talk about the lack of tryouts? Like, why is no one doing any tryouts?
Before we transition too much, I was gonna say, it is interesting that like I was talking to another GM and he was saying that for a lot of the moves,
so many you talk to every GM.
I'm a bit no.
It's just so funny because it's becoming your name drop.
I'm just saying that, like, this is not. Sometimes I speculate wildly where I'm like, hey, I wonder if people are doing due diligence. And I asked Damonte, and then there's times where it's like I've already spoken to someone about this, so it's not completely random. But he was pointing out that a lot of the kind of minor region pickups or these kinds of things you can, for the most part, trace back to like certain people in the organization who
an arrow.
Well, so an arrow for one, but also Rune and Irene coming from the TCL. There's another one that I couldn't remember. And I guess Ica, you know, if you want to talk about SOAS or potentially Zabutine. God, there were a bunch that, like, when you really dug into it, pretty much every single one had like
has a boy
in
NA.
Well,
yeah.
I don't want to paint this as necessarily a negative thing. Like, oh, it's his boy. This dude doesn't deserve it.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, I'm not painting it only as that. I'm just saying, like, these people have inside knowledge, and sometimes that benefits them, and they're able to find someone that no one else knows about because they don't watch OPL really, or something like that. But
because Ica is this undiscovered talent that we've never heard of.
Sure. Either way, all I'm saying is you can usually trace it back to someone in the org that had previous experience or some experience with that particular region and why they were able to find that player. Whether or not that's good or bad is up to, you know, history to decide, I guess.
If one of my mods could turn on R9K mode, the Damonte spam is cute, but perhaps distracting.
Actually, the most obnoxious thing is my Twitter ads every single day.
Really?
It's just at Papa Smithy, at Damonte, forehead, and then...
Yeah. Papa Smithy's in the chat right now, everybody, and Damonte's here. Here's your chance.
Stop,
both of them actually here.
No. I don't want to see anything.
So
Let's just keep the spam going. Why have a useful conversation with multiple LCS personalities in the chat?
All right. Anyway, Tom.
Memes is how we get things done.
Tom, unfortunately, we're done with Damonte, so we have to wrap up your call. Is there anything else that you want to say tonight?
Okay, yeah, just a couple things. Yeah, all the best to you, Damonte. I really hope you get a team. I know Mark's posted that picture of that lotion on your desk. You're going to need plenty of it to find a team this week. But also...
Dude, what the fuck, man?
But let's get Yasui on a team, boys. One NA mid. Bye.
Goodbye.
The other thing I was going to say before that is definitely don't take it on the players who sign. Like, let's say Ryoma or Ica or whoever it is goes and bombs out in spring and you're mad about it. Don't put it on the player just because they got a contract.
Who should they put it on? Someone
else. Maybe the team, maybe the nameless, faceless Twitter account that some social media PR guy reads or girl, and it doesn't matter because it's not. No one knows who's reading it. Maybe them. I don't know. Don't put it on the person's Twitter timeline. It's not them.
Everyone thinks you just announced Cloud9, Damonte, because you're leaving the show.
I've been wearing it for the last hour.
I know.
You cannot wear team clothing if you're not working there.
Right.
No, I'm a free agent. Oh, nice shirt, bro.
Okay, you too.
All right, I will. All right, Damonte, we're gonna wrap this up. I know you got a call to hop on, perhaps a important call. Feel free to call in after your call and let us know what that call was about and how it went. Either way, but you already shouted out your stuff, so I guess we'll say goodbye.
All right. I love you, Travis.
Yeah, see ya. Thanks. All right. Anyway, I guess I need... It's going to sound really weird for the podcast listeners.
Well, especially since I leaned over so much you couldn't see my...
Can we just... Twitch chat is all spamming hearts and loves it. Nick Allen says, I love Damonte. I don't know. Did Damonte leave? Damonte, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm chilling.
Okay. Are you... We're trying to say goodbye to you. Should I just kick you from all this? I would do an Alienware ad. If he's still here, whenever we get back from it, it'll be fine. Either way, shout out to Alienware. They've got a ton of stuff coming up soon for Black Friday. You can go over to alienware.com/Travis and check them out. I'm going to put their link in the chat. Be sure to also check them out if you're listening to or watching the YouTube channel. I want to make sure that's the link. If you're watching the YouTube channel, there's a link in the description. They've got... Alright, whatever. Link won't show up in Twitch chat for some reason. Maybe I disabled it. But they've got a bunch of stuff going on over in preparation for Black Friday. You can go find that stuff over at alienware.com/Travis. And right now they're doing a early sale. So if you're watching the show live right now, you can go check out some of their stuff. Up to 20% off select Alienware PCs. Save up to, I think, close to 500... Actually, right now I'm looking at an M15. You can save up to $600 on it. So there's a ton of stuff that they've got going on over there. Be sure to check out their Black Friday stuff because that's, I mean, honestly, you know, you all know it's a good time to go check out computers. They've been doing a bunch of stuff to support me over the past year and everything that we've been working on. Mark as well on the show. So you guys know this. I've already said this a ton, but I want to thank them so much. Oh, and today I tweeted out, if you want to go take a look at, I did a little look at their monitors. So they have a new 34 and a new 27. Both of those are up in a video where I compare the two on my Twitter channel or Twitter page. You can go check that out. And we'll also have a look at the M15 that I've been using for the past several months, including at Worlds, just as a kind of look, and you know, you can hear from us what we've thought about it. Either way, check them out over at alienware.com/Travis. There's a link in the description. Synthetica just put it into chat. Thank you, Synthetica. Everything is great. Okay, so...
Dude, what's my cat doing?
I don't know.
Himself in the head.
I don't know. That cat is not... And now you're on Cloud9. I just noticed that you're wearing a Cloud9.
Oh, yeah, I said that, and I...
It's a Cloud9 branded show. Did I just leave this freeze frame of Damonte up? So that people who show up new will think he's still here. I'm trying to understand, why do we have so many viewers tonight?
Because it's off season and we're the best show ever because we don't have fucking Loco on it. Think about how starved these viewers are for content when their other option is Loco Doco.
Anyway,
Joey, my cat's getting scolded.
I'm feeling uncomfortable with your...
You don't like this?
No. What'd you just say?
My cat's biting her shoulder. When he gets going, dude, that cat gets going.
Can we zoom back out again?
Why?
It's a personal request. All right, whatever. Can we just let's just take a call?
Choices? Yeah.
Why don't we take a call? All right, Mark is grabbing them. Big shout outs to a ton of people. By the way, Sable Flag just gifted 5 subs. I missed that. That was at the start of the show, and I completely missed it. And I hope Sable Flag is still here because I feel like a jerk if he or she isn't. Zombies 1993, Pillow-esque, Ian 7J2, Amped Gaming, Bare Naked Ninja, JJ2142, The Slatherpuss, Proximate Gaming, Danny Grimm, Sorry Kings, Derek, Dark King 582, Oshu, Avura, and Merchant of Soul. Where are we? Are we back? Nope, Mark is still not here. Crouton, Ein Waltz, Cheeto, Kelby gifted a sub to Kielbasa. Hi, Kelby. Kelby, if you're still in the chat, if you want to hop on the show, we could have you on. Fernks19, Crockpot09, I am Nikleos. Only one. If Kelby's in the chat and you guys want him to join the show, please message him and tell him to come on the show.
Was it Say Ocean or was it Kelby? What is he now?
It's at Kelby because he was able to. Whenever he was at Twitch, he got the Kelby name, I think.
Yeah, he was
Danny
on.
Grimm is joining us. Danny Grimm, where are you calling from?
Hey, calling from Redmond, Washington.
Ooh, you have you're kind of loud. Okay, I've turned you down. Well, welcome back on the show. I hope work is going well. What do you want to talk about on the show?
Right. So my take is kind of twofold. It seems to me that teams are more willing to spend money on unknown quantity imports than they are on actually building out their recruiting and scouting structure within those orgs. And I mean, given that there's no NA mid starting the split, seemingly, it feels like they're going to double down this split on getting more imports, and they haven't improved recruiting or scouting, as far as we know. So my prediction is that it's not going to go well, which goes into two kind of things. One is it goes bad. They just revert to, okay, now we need to get just any talent. They still haven't improved scouting or recruiting, so that doesn't really help much. And the other one is, now that they are bringing down imports, one of the points being made is that that's going to level up the scene. And I don't think it will, because they don't actually scout very well for imports. Imports aren't really good. It's not going to level up anyone. So that's kind of a long-winded point.
Okay, so sorry, what's your final take here? That do you think that orgs shouldn't be importing, or do you think they're just too eager to do it?
So I think they are too eager to do it, and they don't have the structure to support it.
Okay. As in they're not as great at scouting it?
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, we should mention,
up,
you said that there weren't going to be any NA mids, but Golden Glue will be starting for...
Yeah.
I was going to say, first up, Kelby May is in the call.
Oh, did he join?
Yeah.
What's good, guys?
Hi, Kelby. Do you want to join the... Are you clothed?
I'm clothed, but do you need me to join for the camera spot?
No, I guess.
Why didn't you just see Damonte's face there, and then Kelby could pretend to be them?
I think that'd be confusing for people joining. That's fine. If you don't want to do video, that's fine. Welcome to the show, Kelby May. Kelby, former... What was your position at CLG officially?
General manager.
General manager. So we have a former North American general manager on the show right now, responsible in part for one of the first CLG imports to North America.
That's true.
All right, so let's hop into it. Yeah, do we think that they are too eager to import and that they are not doing a great job of it? Mark, do you think there's evidence they're not doing a great job of selecting the players that they do import? Because I feel like the more, I can think of more recent imports like Crown or whatever, and it seems to be that people think that they're quite good.
I think it depends. Like, I think that they're fine at bringing over, known quantities. Like, I have no problem with taking a shot at Crown or whatever and trying to work with him. I definitely don't think that that's necessarily bad. I think we've gotten better about starting to target lesser known quantities in the last year and a half with people like Broken Blade and Rune and stuff. But a lot of them are coming from minor regions, and I'm not sure why we aren't taking that same care with major regions, less discovered talent, where we're kind of doing it with like the creme de la creme of minor regions. So I guess they are kind of more known quantities even in that case. But either way, I kind of see what the caller's talking about scouting and finding.
By the way,
where do you think the scouting is failing? Because people seem to feel like it's okay that TSM is keeping Broken Blade, and he was like a top player from the TCL. So I'm asking you, Mark.
Well, I
do feel like the scouting is okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure why people aren't. I said this before. Like, I'm not sure why they aren't targeting top of solo queue players from other regions. Like, that's basically how most players are discovered. Is like, oh, I saw them in solo queue. It's often where it starts, and then maybe they get into a minor region team or minor league, team. But I don't think teams, at least from the ones that I've talked to so far, have taken any effort to hire people or even just flat be like, hey, guy who jumps out at you from this region kind of thing. And that's what I mean, where I say I can totally see where college come from, where it's like, that's probably not that expensive in the grand scheme of your budget to go talk to high elo players in other regions, send your player there in one of your breaks to go grind solo queue and pay him for that, and then to like write up about people who impressed him the most, between spring and summer, go to Korea or something. And the reason I bring this up is just because the teams that won Worlds from the LPL using solo laners from Korea, most of those guys were not super well-known quantities. But then some of them had some experience in challenger teams, some didn't. I don't think Shy, or excuse me, I don't think, was it the Shy or Doinby? One of them didn't play in LC. Pretty sure.
I thought. Oh yeah, I think the Shy didn't, because I think
he was like a streamer.
Yeah.
So yeah, like those are guys who.
Oh, Twitch is saying both.
Yeah, but I thought one of them might have played in the like challenger scene.
Yeah, I thought one of them did too, and I thought it was Doinby.
Yeah. Apparently, Clid didn't play either, but I'm pretty sure some of these guys got LCK challenger.
Sure. Anyway,
but the point is, yeah, like why aren't we finding Clids and Doinbys and stuff? Why are we only getting Crowns and Core JJs? Where's the attempt at finding the lesser known talent? I just don't see it even attempted outside when CLG did it years ago with Seraph.
Yeah, and that we saw how that worked out.
Well, I bet just because it didn't work once doesn't mean the idea was wrong. You're ahead of your time. You did it before you had an academy system to plop him in and see if he was actually good or not.
Danny, would that make you feel better? I'm actually kind of curious about this. So you're concerned about the scouting methods of the current LCS teams. If they were like, don't worry guys, instead of getting the top player in the TCL or OPL, we brought this solo queue superstar in that people are not familiar with and has never played a professional game of League in his life. Would you be excited about that, or would that make you concerned?
I mean, I would be somewhat excited, but mostly right now I would be concerned. The reason being, and to Mark's point, when you import top talent from minor regions, it just makes me feel like you're not really putting an effort into scouting. You're like, I don't have money for top talent from top regions. I'm going to import top talent from minor regions. So it doesn't feel like they're doing their scouting really well, and they're not really bringing in players from like top solo queue Korea. So yeah, right now it's going to make me feel uncomfortable, but generally if they do that and it works, and they start to get a rhythm of more players that are kind of unknown but they've scouted them, then I would be very excited. I think that's way more exciting than just random imports that don't pan out and like a revolving door of imports in NA.
I feel like this assumption, or I feel like what you're saying makes dangerous assumptions about other regions. In particular, like when we're looking at like LCK, LEC, or LPL, if I, as an NA like GM, am going to hire somebody to scout like LCK, let's use Korea as an example, right? If I'm assuming that I can't get the top players from those teams, but I want to discover like who's the next Clid or who's the next guy that hasn't made it onto an LCK team yet, but I can bring over and put on an LCS team. Like, I'm assuming that I, as somebody who's in a different region, probably doesn't speak the language and doesn't know the in and outs of like their politics, am able to discover solo queue talent better than all of the Korean LCK teams. And like, I've just found this gem that they have not, for whatever reason, been able to identify, even though their region has more international success, more infrastructure, and obviously like a lot greater proximity to this player. And that really applies for all of these different regions. So I can understand why LCS teams are looking at known quantities in other regions, because otherwise you have to assume that you as an outsider are going to be able to discover talent better than they are, which is like a pretty difficult assumption to make, for me at least.
So if you don't mind if I go first, I don't think you have to be much better, because like I said, a lot of these teams aren't doing anything significantly more than playing solo queue with them prior to getting any practice time on like an LSPL team or other situations. But what we do have is much better working conditions as far as I'm aware. And if I don't know, because I don't think it's really even been attempted, but if you're in talks between joining Korean challenger team that is super gonna pay you nothing and your life's gonna be miserable, or an LCS team, or maybe even an academy team, I think you don't need to identify it before them. You can identify it close to the same rate as these other teams, and then hopefully make a better pitch to them to convince them to come over. I think the bigger concern, more so than can you get to them first, is if you do get to them first, do you actually still develop them into talented players like these other regions are doing? That's where I think that this theory actually falls apart more so than finding them. But that's a different.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not with you there. Like, I do think that we are at a really severe disadvantage in terms of finding that talent and identifying them before the other like home regions, especially in LCK and LPL. But I agree with you on your second point as well, is that taking somebody out of that structure that has built them to that point. Like, the other thing too is that, like, these players come over here, and I think that being out of those systems for significant periods of times makes them soft. Like, being NA and playing constantly on NA solo queue, when you do that for like 9 months, you're going to lose a lot of what made you great in your other region.
For sure. And I think, like I was saying, those are some of the concerns you have to try and tackle. But I don't even think it's being attempted, is it? And that's why I don't understand. Like, these are things that could go wrong in theory, but it should be a relatively cheap cost.
Because I'd rather get Crown or Core JJ.
By the way, just to corroborate,
but these aren't mutually exclusive. It's not like you can only do one or the other.
But right? I'm saying why one is happening and why the other isn't happening.
Yeah, but I'm saying things like Rush. We got Rush, and that worked out pretty well.
What is pretty well?
Better than MVP. Most imports.
NA has never done anything at Worlds. Like, isn't this all to fix the issue that NA is not performing at Worlds? Rush didn't do that for us.
No, but neither has anyone really in that capacity other than some European players, right? So if you don't like Rush, why can't we try and lure over people like Larson and things like that? And what happened with Jensen where we got him first? Or like, I think it doesn't have to be limited to LCK, though that's what we've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Even people like Ray, like, I think those are the types of opportunities I don't think teams go for enough. And like you're saying, yes, Crown will be a much better immediate pickup, but he's going to cost you a lot more in theory to actually get over there. Whereas this should be a relatively low cost opportunity, and you're going to miss on some, but that's basically opportunity cost, right?
Yeah, I gotcha. So you're saying, like, but for some teams where the budget is not the issue, like, I would much rather take the Crown bet. You're saying for like some of the mid or bottom tier teams?
Yeah, or like Academy, because you can put players on there. I think Levi was the wrong example because he was a superstar on a Vietnamese team that bent over backwards to play to his style. But doing something similar where you put him in Academy and hopefully it didn't cost that much. You'd probably have to deal with visas, which I can also understand being a bit of a headache. But if you can get him in Academy for a split or a year and just see what happens, it doesn't even need to be like you're committing a starting spot to it.
Right. I mean, if I'm a rising talent in LPL or LCK and I have dreams of going pro, do I resign myself to NA Academy?
Well, so what Papa Smithy said a little bit ago in chat was a lot of players are not interested in coming to NA because they think their skills will atrophy due to the ping, which is kind of what you were saying, Kelby. So
yeah, of course.
But I already kind of tried to address that by saying we're not even trying. Like, these conversations aren't even happening as far as I'm aware.
Well, yeah, not that we're aware because people aren't coming over, right? But maybe. I mean, I think you're probably largely correct. I'm not. I
talked to a couple of teams if they had regional talent scouts, and none of them did.
Oh yeah, I'm sure nobody has regional talent scouts.
Right, and I'm not even saying like this guy's a full-time fucking staff employee. I'm saying like, did you pay people?
Dude, there's Zixlals out there. Zixlal got onto CLG because he sent George PDFs analyzing our games for like a year, and then eventually we were like, dude, let's try this guy out. Now look at him. So yeah, there's definitely people out there willing to do that shit.
Right. Yeah. I'm not saying you have to pay full-time employees, but like, are we even, is the attempt even being made? Like Pop is probably right. You know, like if you reach out to the top 10 unsigned LCK talents on the Korean solo queue ladder, you know, like probably the vast majority will be like, fuck off, you know, but that doesn't mean you don't try it, I think. But that's to my kind of to bring it back to the caller, the idea of like, where are people investing their money in scouting? Because it's not even really scouting to go say, ooh, I just heard Chovy's off Griffin. You know, like that's not scouting.
Yeah. No, I gotcha.
I mean, I think at some, well, anyway, this is good, by the way, because I'm interviewing Parth tomorrow, so I will ask him
about his regional talent scouts.
Yeah, about how much scouting he thinks the teams are doing and all that stuff. But I don't know, Danny, do you think that we've addressed this?
Yeah, I think generally you have.
All right. I would. There were some things I would say, but you know, Kelby, Mark, they got into it.
Well, I want to hear you, Travis. You're not just a host on this show. I respect your opinions here.
Actually, what's funny is that you guys went back and forth a ton on it. But I think it would be an interesting experiment to do what Mark is saying, right? If you are a team and you think Academy is the perfect place to experiment. So if you can actually get somebody, and if you look at all these different regions, if you looked at 3 of them, and you've got regional talent scouts, you should be able to find a couple of players that you can bring over to Academy and just sort of see, give them a year or so. I think that would be really interesting. And by the way, I'm guessing like it's not going to cost you too much. I doubt that it's going to be much more, if anything, more than what it would cost to have an NA player there. Academy's low risk. It does seem like a pretty good idea. So.
And maybe it all flops and I'm totally wrong, but I'd rather have this conversation than another one that's like, the problem is players are lazy, or you know, like
and to Kelby's point,
sucks. You know, like all.
To Kelby's very blunt point, nothing we have done so far has worked great, and it is not. So I think that kind of off the wall thinking is perhaps not a bad way to go about it.
And I would bet that Kelby's right that none of these turn into like, and then North America won Worlds off Mark's master plan. You know, like. But I do.
Don't take credit for Danny's idea, dude.
Yeah, my bad. I would just like to see more efforts and more unique efforts made than like we're gonna invest in this thing. You know, yeah.
Danny, do you have any plugs, any shouts, anything you want to throw out there before we move on to the next caller?
No. Shout out to Alienware Movement for sponsoring the show. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much. Have a good one.
You too.
I'm just waiting for the. Sorry, go ahead, Travis.
Bloody Stabs just gifted us up to Papa Smithy. Congratulations, Papa Smithy, on joining the show.
Hello.
Hello, Insaya.
Yeah.
One second, Insaya. Kelby had something he wanted to say. Kelby, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm good. I think it was too incendiary.
Say it.
I'm just waiting for the day that NA accepts its fates as a region, dude. Like,
it's
guys
happening. Did you see the Reddit thread today that was like, "What's the point?"
What time was the Reddit thread go up? Was an EU?
I don't think it was. Was that today? I thought it was yesterday.
Maybe. It just fell off the front page.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday. There was a thread that was literally, "What's the point?" Kobe, what's the point?
I mean, it's not like
there's no point. He agrees with you, Mark.
It was 23 hours ago. That's what I'm saying. What's the point? We're all gonna die anyways.
Right.
You know?
That's it's not like you don't compete along the way, but you need to be realistic about where you are in the scheme of things in terms of like world competitiveness. And maybe there's like one-off roster that does something one year, but like we are not LEC, which has, you know, like as a region just like propelled themselves up so much and actually been super impressive. Like that is not in the cards for us with our player base size. Like it's just not gonna fucking happen. So
I mean, I think it's been 2 years, 3 years, Travis, since I've been saying the whole, okay, instead of talking about why are we bad, let's talk about why would we expect ourselves to be great.
Yes. I think you said that right before NA had its best Worlds run ever.
And then I was just a little bit early or a little late. Any other year that would have been a great point to start bringing that up.
Yeah, it was also the year that I think Kelby said that Cloud9 had 0% chance of getting out of groups. I think was that what it was? I think it was what it was.
Yeah.
Well, that was just last year.
Yeah.
I mean, not last year. The year before. Whatever.
No, it was last year. Doesn't it feel weird to say that?
I think. Yeah.
Inside, where are you calling from?
I'm from San Mateo, California.
San Mateo, California. What do you want to talk about on the show?
Yeah, so my topic is a little controversial. I believe that FlyQuest can be a top 3 team in the upcoming spring split. So yeah, a little vague here. But I've been a FlyQuest fan since like the beginning of the conception of Cloud9 Challenger, and I've seen like a lot of rosters. I'm by no means like a league expert or anything. I'm only Gold 2 lol. But I believe like adding Ignar to Wild Turtle will be a really significant addition because I don't really think FlyQuest has had a super definitive support in their whole time. If I remember correctly, they've only had Elimination, Stunt, Wadid, and I think that's all they've had so far. But yeah, so JJ as well, sorry. And JJ was pretty much implemented in after things weren't going very well. He had a really good split, but then after that, I think in the summer after they did pretty well, he just got benched again for Wadid or something. But along the lines of adding Power of Evil along with Ignar, that's already like a coexisting like chemistry they have in Misfits. I think it's 2017 was the year that they were together. I might be wrong. But Viper also has potential as well. He had Rookie of the Split, albeit not much competition in that split, but I believe Viper had a really good spring split, and I don't exactly know what happened in summer. I know they started 1-7, but like they were actually beginning to gain a little bit of traction near the end of the split. They did drop like I think the last 2 games or something that could have like got them in some position for playoffs. But I believe a lot with their like playoff experience and such as well. A lot of people seem to forget FlyQuest when St. Vicious was on the team, they were 1 game away. If it's Cloud9, they would have got 2nd seed, and they ended up losing tiebreakers and going down to I think like 6 or something, which was like
sure,
pretty.
So they have
a pretty bad fall.
They have a history of being competitive.
Yes.
So sorry, your take is that they're going to be competitive again?
You said top.
I think they're going to be top 3 because I believe adding Ignar will ignite Wild Turtle to perform a lot better than he has with all the other sports FlyQuest has ever had. Because Wild Turtle, in my opinion, is a player that plays very, very well when he's like, of course, surrounded by like good or like neutral players. But I believe with FlyQuest having like kind of weak links in the past, I feel like Wild Turtle can't really be ignited as hard as he could when he has like a really good support behind him.
I mean, I've seen him get ignited a lot in the LCS, but.
Whoa.
Hey.
What do you say?
Mark, do you want to start off on this one? Or do you want me to?
I'm a negative Nancy. Are you going to be a negative Nancy?
I'm about as negative a fucking Nancy as you can be.
All right, you go negative Nancy first, and we'll see which of us are more of a negative Nancy.
I mean, this is just so I've made some I've made some, in retrospect, foolish calls about 0% chances of something happening. But there is a fucking less than 0% chance that FlyQuest is top 3 this split. Like, in NA, as a region, looking at these other rosters, like, oh my god, there is no possible fucking way that FlyQuest finishes top 3. Like, even in spring, where, like, anything can happen, I would say, like, how the fuck is this team, FlyQuest Esports, I'm amazed these guys are even still in the LCS. Like, and dude, I gotta give it up to you, like, it's really awesome that you have managed to be a fan of this org and the lack of anything that they have done to deserve your fandom since they've been involved in the league. Like, nobody cares about this org, nobody cares about anything that they're doing, but you're here still repping it, so good on you, man. But I just do not see how it is possible that these guys are competing with like TSM, EG, TL for a top 3 spot. Like, wow.
I understand.
Mark?
So what I'm curious though, like, what is the thing, who's the other team in like the current like top 3 that you would knock down, and like what is the thing that FlyQuest is going to have over them aside from a lack of awareness, social media presence, branding, content creation, or marketable personalities?
So you're asking like what team FlyQuest will beat down like to get third instead of fourth?
Yeah.
So I believe like a lot of people are saying the top teams will be TL, EG, TSM, and like maybe C9. This is gonna sound very stupid, and I'm probably gonna get like roasted all over the internet for it. I honestly don't feel like EG will pan out that well, in my opinion. I feel like
we don't even know the full EG lineup is the problem.
What's the confirmed one? It's like Bang, Zazel, Svensker, and
I think that's it. And then we're trying to
I mean, those three players can beat any 5 FlyQuest players that I'm sure you're going to put out there.
To be fair to the caller,
it's okay.
Sometimes these kind of like mashed together teams that look really good on paper don't pan out.
That's true.
And I remember, I forget if it was one of the splits, either 2018 or I think it was spring. Everyone thought they were going to be terrible.
Yeah, they did. They really did.
And then like Dignitas fell apart. I think it was Clutch. Or
FlyQuest always quietly creeps up the rankings, and then people are like, "Oh wait, it's FlyQuest."
It was like TSM flopped. 100 Thieves flopped initially, but turned it around.
All right, Travis, I'm gonna ask you a question. Since you wanna, sounds like you wanna be optimistic here. What odds do I need to give you for you to take your Alienware sponsorship and put it on the line for FlyQuest being top 3?
Can I get a cut?
Like you're not getting a cut.
Does it need to be like 10-1?
I would
20-1. There you go. This is a good response. Go for it.
I would never, ever bet my Alienware relationship against anyone. I don't know. Would I bet my mother's life against anything, Kelby? Would I?
She have life insurance?
Would I, risk Peter never winning a game of League of Legends ever again? You know how an amazing sponsor Alienware has been? Don't you fucking ever come to me and ask me to risk my relationship with that sponsor again.
All right,
but I'm saying there's a chance that they would be.
But FlyQuest top 3,
Yeah, I wouldn't count it out, but I think Kelby was more negative than me. I'm not even going to try and top that.
Okay. So I don't think there's 0% chance they make top 3. I think it's incredibly unlikely, and I think to the caller's point, there have been times where FlyQuest has risen up the rankings. The problem is they've never been able to clutch it out.
I do agree. I do agree with that, especially when I think their semifinal match against TL, they went 0-3, and in Gauntlet they went 0-3 against CG, and then when they're in quarterfinals versus 100 Thieves, they also went 0-3. So
I think that's the problem with FlyQuest, is that they are like the perpetual playoffs team, and that they can always field the roster that's going to get them into playoffs. I think, have they made it every year? There might be one split.
No, they haven't made playoffs. Sorry, every year? No, they.
Sorry, I meant every split.
Yeah.
Have they
made? No, they haven't every split.
Okay, yeah. I think there was one that they slipped, right? There wasn't. I don't think
the first split they got 4th against Phoenix 1, and then the next split they didn't make.
Okay, but then they made it both times this year, right?
Who is this?
No, they didn't make it.
They didn't make it this summer.
No, they didn't.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, they started the season.
Never mind. I'm with Calby. This team sucks. No, I just mean, like, I think that they are. They're always fielding a lineup that can be pretty competitive, but they just never have like the extra oomph that it takes to get to the top 3. I think that's the problem for FlyQuest, and I don't look at the lineup, the theoretical lineup of PoE and Ignar, because I don't know if they've announced it yet or whatever, but I think they announced Ignar, right? They didn't announce PoE?
Yeah, they haven't announced PoE yet, officially, no.
But regardless, like, I don't look at that lineup and say, like, this is the one that's going to make them top 3. But, if TSM and EG don't pan out, maybe they sneak up there along with, like, I don't know, another team.
I could see that, and I don't want to keep the call going super long. I was chilling with the other 3 people. But I think Santorin is an underlooked aspect of FlyQuest.
I think people go back and forth on if Santorin is really good or if he's only okay. I think people were really singing his praises in spring, and then I think in summer he seemed to fall off. Was that right, Mark?
Summer he had like the lowest jungle proximity, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. He really struggled. Well, in some areas, I think if you only looked at stats, you would actually say he still looked okay.
Okay.
I think I have a better question for you guys. Do you think there are better odds of FlyQuest getting top 3 or for them to get a 3rd sponsor? this.
And Saya, anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to throw out there?
So I can give a quick thing with FlyQuest. As I said, I've been with like FlyQuest since their conception. Their Snickers sponsorship was absolutely atrocious. It was actually the worst thing I've ever witnessed. Like, and I talked to people that are with FlyQuest and that aren't with FlyQuest, and a lot of them talk about FlyQuest is like company has this really happy-go-lucky mentality. I fucking love everyone that works there to death, but sometimes I couldn't. Their Twitter, like their interactions with fans and their Twitter, is just really cringy sometimes, and I like it hurts to be a fan when I see them saying like they post a picture of like a Snickles. It's like a Snicker and a pickle or something, and it's like fly Snickers and shit. And I'm like, oh my god, dude, it's like actually killing me.
Oh.
And like it's an emote in the FlyQuest Discord and everything, and people like some time to time, I just fucking like I pray to the fucking gods of like whatever exists. The FlyQuest gets some videos and some traction and actual sponsors, so it's not this like super cringy company. It's really hard to be a fan sometimes. I love it to death. I love the players. Everything's great, but holy, like, sorry, I don't mean to spoil it, but oh my god, like, it's actually really cringy and atrocious to be a fan. I shit you not. I'm a Cutie Pie was there, and I'm a Cutie Pie, and I met Tyler One. I was wearing my FlyQuest jersey each time, and both of them commented saying they've never seen someone wear.
Dude, this is maybe my favorite call we've ever had, dude.
I was gonna say this is like a legendary rant. Like as soon as Kelby asked that question, and I talked for like three minutes straight about it.
Well, I feel really bad for anybody watching from FlyQuest or anybody that finds this later, because the call starts off, and this guy is singing their praises. He's like, they're gonna be top 3. I've been a FlyQuest fan forever, and then just like the Julius Caesar betrayal at the back end of this call.
No, I will always love FlyQuest, thick and thin. I don't care if they lose every single game and they only sign like OC players that are like Iron 4. I will still like be that rooting in the crowd saying go FlyQuest as they go 0-30 and like no jungle proximity every fucking game. But
that's what I'm saying. They need fans like you who are gonna love them no matter what, but you're also gonna keep it real, and you're not just blindly like.
I try really hard to keep it real. Like I talked to like a former employee there, and he was just like, dude, I can't handle the go happy mentality there. It's like none of them really real content they put out it. Like they don't even get past 1,000 views, and they like did all these really really nice content in spring when they were like winning everything, and like they gained some fans, right? But like summer split when they were losing a bunch of games, like they just like wouldn't upload things, and like it was just like you have no fan interaction. The players were really upset. Yeah, sorry.
I know as much as Kelby's enjoying this, we do have to move on because we do have a couple more callers. Thank you so much for the call.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you so much, guys.
Have a good one.
Have a good one. Bye.
All right, Mark's off to grab them.
I fucking love that guy.
The ending was not what I was expecting. I thought. Bloody Stabs, thank you for the sub. OSTL Manny Muppet, thank you for the prime. Mock DC0296, thank you for the prime. Just Joe 90, thank you for the 9 months. Potty Rex, thanks for the prime. Freak Peach, 12 months, 1 whole year, thank you. Lazink, Just Jelu, Grant, Craig Yorger. We got Boogie Bear here. Boogie Bear, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Chicago.
Chicago, how's the ping?
19 ping all the time. Yep, feels good.
What do you want to talk about on the show?
So I want to talk about Pole Belter not playing in the LCS and it being the fucking dumbest thing that I've heard in my entire life.
Okay. All right.
Well, first of all, like
we got a lot of passionate fans tonight.
I like tonight.
So,
the first thing is that he's a vet. He's got a lot of experience. He's got a lot of years playing. I think it's so dumb that none of the bottom tier teams that don't have like a really solid mid laner haven't picked him up. I also think that you guys saw his like Twitter post, right? Like
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that like really showed how much drive he has. And I think that that's like really important. Like any team could see that. Any real team with like a good staff could easily see how much drive a player like that would have. And the third thing is mainly based on IMT. I think they missed a pretty big brand opportunity with bringing in Welter and Smithy. Obviously, they couldn't bring in who was it? Was it Ole?
Yeah, I think. But why couldn't they have brought in Ole?
He's really bad. I don't know. That's just...
Okay. Yeah, okay. Sorry. Continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I mean that's my take. They missed a pretty big brand opportunity. I think they could have gotten a lot of old fans that used to be like fans of IMT back in those days. And I don't know. That's my take.
I definitely agree. I don't know about he should definitively go to IMT part, but I am really surprised Pobelter didn't end up on a team, especially considering like, yes, I don't think he had a great last split, and I think I might have had him last in like my mid-season power rankings. I think he played a little bit better towards the end of it, but like, I don't look at that team and go like, yep, that's Pobelter. Summer split 2019 Pobelter is who he is and who he's always going to be. He's won championships on a bunch of basically since he joined CLG 2014. He's been good, and so like this is his worst split he's ever had since then. And there were a lot of things wrong with FlyQuest. There was a massive drop in spring and summer. I wouldn't put that all on him. He was really good in spring as well. So to me, it's just weird that no one would have taken him and then been able to like grab more like everyone always thinks Pobelter is such a crazy asset for teams because hey, you get a good competent mid laner who you can win with, and then you get to be able to use your import slots on other skill intensive positions and stuff. And the fact that it just didn't pan out was crazy to me. And I think he's definitely really good. So I'm surprised. And like I super identify with one of the things that he was talking about, as well as I think it was Damonte saying he responded with his tweet about like the stats and like Pobelter talking about how he was super down to sack his lane, and like been brought up a couple examples. And I think that's something that probably goes overlooked a little bit too much, is like when you're on a bad team and you're a selfless player not looking to get theirs, like you're gonna look pretty fucking bad. And so like I don't know everything wrong with FlyQuest's last split or whatever, but I'm shocked that after one bad split after years of good ones, that it's just like nah, we'll take our business elsewhere.
Yeah, I think that's what's so crazy to me. I mean, I don't want to just reiterate everything, but yes, it is crazy to me because like he's so valuable because you can go use an import slot elsewhere. And so it's just I remember he went on the market after, I don't know if he went on the market or TL was up for trading him, but I feel like there was a lot of people clamoring for him after he left TL. And so that's just super fascinating to me that it ended up in this situation. And it's very funny because it feels like all the NA orgs like somehow colluded together to be like, fucking none of these NA mids, like Golden Guardians gets left out of that meeting and they're like, wait, we're getting Damonte, or that we're getting Golden Glue. But it's so funny to me that like it ends up going this way, this off season. Like you just kind of started to see the spots start falling,
Yeah, and I would predict, we're talking about bets earlier with Kelby. I would bet that Pobelter ends up on an academy team and he gets someone's job before spring's even done, or he ends up on a team and just like kind of gets stuck in contract hell for that split. Like I just can't imagine him not.
I think these teams are really going to hold on to their mid laners for the spring split, and then if he were to get pulled onto an academy team, he'd probably go in summer. I don't even think he'd get a chance in spring.
I mean, it depends on what kind of offers he gets, because I don't think he should sign longer than a split contract, and I don't know if anyone's going to offer him just a split contract. Because
or you sign a contract. So I don't know if this is legal from a LCS rule perspective, but what if Pobelter signed a contract with a team to join their academy, and then he gets a cut of whatever the buyout is on the back end? Because if he joins a team, like any team could sign him at like academy minimum, and he could help out, do stuff, could be a branding play, etc. And then he knows that, and the team knows that, all right, he's probably going to get an offer at some point in time during this year what is there? I don't know if it's legal, but if it is, I think the idea of him getting a cut of the whoever pays the money to buy him out of his contract, that could be interesting.
If I was him, I'd almost rather not do that, even if it was legal, just because I don't want to have to get stuck in a potential contract hell situation. Whereas if I just, like, let's say I couldn't get any like split long contract for spring to be someone's backup to help out if their first option doesn't work, I would think he would just wait till summer for one of those teams to go boom, one signs him.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't happen in spring, by summer, someone's got to be like, all right, let's shake things up.
Yeah, but then you also potentially have to compete against Damonte if he doesn't end up in that spot.
Well, Damonte is in a similar situation where if he does take a contract for academy, it's the same thing.
How much of a competition is that?
What's that?
Hey, we're running out of time, but Boogie, or I don't know. Actually, Kelby, you were gone by the time Po Belter showed up on CLG, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have like a super hot take for this then?
No, I think Po with proper motivation will be a really good mid laner in NA again.
Boogie Bear, anything you want to say at the end here?
Shout out to you guys. You guys do a great job keeping me entertained.
Thanks. Is that just me and Mark, or does it unfortunately also include Kelby?
What's unfortunate about it, dude?
Who is Kelby actually?
Wait, what did you say?
Jesus.
I said, who even is Kelby?
That's what most of my YouTube comments say. So, thanks so much, Boogie, for calling in.
Yeah, see you guys.
Have a good one. All right, Mark is off to grab our next caller. Some shout outs. Thank you to Jack for subbing and Diamond for subbing. I like that Diamond and Jack always show up in the chat at the same time. It makes me wonder if I've ever seen them in the same place at the same time.
I would like to believe that they're like in the C9 facility together, and one's like, "Hey, other guy, don't forget Hotline League's on," and then it's like this very wholesome.
That is how most Hotline League viewers go. They yell to the other person around them and say, "Hey, Hotline League is on. Make sure you watch it." Razzleplasm, thank you for the 3 months. Snarfy, TFT, and Rylist. Chan is here. Chan, where are you calling from?
Hello, I'm from Montreal, Quebec. Montreal, Quebec.
Yeah, I believe it's pronounced Montreal. What do you?
Oh, come on.
What do you want to talk about on the show?
My topic is about Coma going to the LPL, right? Apparently, from Twitter, from this Fion, he tweeted that Coma was gonna go to China after refusing a deal with SKT for staying in SKT, and the fact
7
is,
figures supposedly.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, this team in the LPL is like the worst team right now in the LPL, and so I want to start a discussion about like how he's gonna do in the LPL, and I think personally that he's not gonna do that great. Maybe like at the best, maybe the team is gonna be in the middle of the pack. And also quite interesting is that Bengi and also Pumandu also coached in that team. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, actually, thank you. That's good context. There's going to Vici as the team. So I think a lot of it will just have to do with the resources he gets. So LPL, similar to LEC, has a theoretical just giant funnel of players that you can pull from solo queue. There's so many people that play over there that there's a lot of people that you can pull from. Not to mention the fact that, theoretically, if they can spend a ton on Coma, they're going to also spend a ton on buyouts potentially, or free agents or whatever. So I'm super curious to see what that roster looks like.
The thing to remember though about LPL solo queue is that all those people are waiting around for NA Academy positions now, Travis.
That's true.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You want to work with Coma on an LPL
I didn't know Mark
team,
was still
or you
here.
wanna-
Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, like the whole roster right now that they have is all Chinese. They don't have any Korean on the team. It's all Chinese. So Koma coming in is going to be very interesting because it's going to be the first time that he ever coaches a team other than SKT, and it's the first time that he's going to coach abroad. So really interesting in seeing what that's going to look like. And as I said before, I don't think it's going to be that amazing. Maybe in the middle of the pack, but nonetheless, very interesting.
Yeah, I'm so curious about. So one, I gotta believe SKT leaked the shit out of that to ESPN, because if you're SKT and you lose Coma, you gotta like you're definitely throwing out there like, yo, we tried to offer him $1 million+ and he didn't take it. And so the fact that ESPN had the number, like I gotta assume that came from SKT, which is very funny because just how terrifying is it if you're an SKT fan and you're losing, like other than Faker, I feel like losing
Khan
has got to be the
is
scariest
going
thing.
to FBX. Khan is going to FBX apparently.
Yeah, I'm kind of with the caller a little bit. I hope I'm wrong, and like for his own legacy and the legacy of like coaching in general in league esports, I would like that he would go and help, not necessarily win a trophy, but like they make a playoff run and he's super
That'll be
awesome.
nice.
Yeah, I think more so than I care about Vici or even Coma, I like Bob. It's like the idea that there is this guy in the esports scene who is this great coach who gets to go and make all these like amazing things happen. Daler was supposed to be that in the West, kind of retired, just gone after. And so I hope the best coach ever, now that he's not with Faker, is still successful, so it doesn't turn into this like, oh, Faker carried him the whole time story.
What's so interesting is that their whole lineup right now is all Chinese players, so he has to probably work with a translator to get things through, and it's going to be very interesting because he's not going to be working with any Korean players on the team as for now. So really interested in seeing how that's going to turn out, if they're going to make playoffs or.
Well, he's also getting married, I think, this month.
Yeah, and the China money, for the marriage, for the China money. Yeah, it's a smart move for the securing the future,
Yeah, I'm kind of with the caller though, where I don't, unless like I admit I'm not like a giant LPL nerd, so I'm not sure exactly all the high and low points of Vici and the rest of the region.
Yeah, where's Raz?
Yeah,
you need him.
I wouldn't say like, oh, their roster sucks balls and Poma can't save it, but I am concerned that with the language barrier and not being a great team last year, that his legacy is sadly kind of in jeopardy, just because I think a lot of people will do that whole thing that I was saying before.
Yeah, actually, I don't think any of the players on Vici right now are actually quite known in China. I haven't seen them in any kind of like promotion shows or videos or stuff like that. So not super popular, I would say, in the LPL as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Well, I'm super curious to see how it goes.
Yeah.
If this is just him kind of like selling out and making some cash after he gets married, which who knows if that's it. And I'm not saying that's it, but I think whatever.
Yeah,
but,
that's so.
Hey, thanks so much, Chan, for calling in. Anything you want to say as we say goodbye?
I want to give a shout out to the greatest sponsor of all time, Alienware, for sponsoring Travis. Also, I want to give a shout out to players from Quebec in the LCS, Vulcan, and I think Diamond is still around, right?
I believe it's pronounced Quebec.
Quebec.
Thanks so much for your call.
All right, thank you guys. Have a great time.
Everyone.
Oh.
By the way, I think on this episode, because we've been talking so much about, we've had callers criticizing GMs and all that stuff, it's funny because I look right now, and we've got Zix, Papa Smithy, Parth, Steve, Jack, Danon, like the whole, it's just like all these GMs and owners and everybody are here to hear the flame.
Where's the FlyQuest GM at, dude?
Maybe they're here and I just haven't.
You just don't know who they are because they haven't done anything that you would know them.
He says, "Where's GGS?" Danon's right there. Mark's cat is on the show. Mark's cat, where are you calling from?
Miami, Florida.
Miami, Florida. All right.
You should have been clever and said my armrest.
Yeah.
Dang
you
it!
Change your name to Mark's cat to try to increase your chances of getting on the show.
No, I was on the show last week.
Okay. What do you want to talk about on the show?
I want to talk about Doublelift and Bjergsen not going to be participating in All Stars.
Nice.
Yeah, I knew you'd like this one, Travis. I'm gonna go take a. Okay.
No, stay. We need you. You're going to All Stars. Okay, so go ahead, Mark's cat.
So basically, I just think, especially the All Star event has kind of been dying over the years, where like they try to spice it up, throwing in like the 1v1s and all those kind of things to get fans more into it, because the whole purpose is to have fan vote to put these players into the All Stars. And I feel like to have 27% of the fans' votes thrown away like that instantly, to then have I assume Bang and Sneaky would go now instead, kind of ruins the event even more and makes it less pleasurable for the fans, especially such a personality like Doublelift, like always makes memes and everything else.
Well, what's weird is CoreJJ tweeted he was going, I think.
I thought he finished like 5th.
So I wonder if he accidentally leaked that one of the other 2 players aren't going.
It's probably maybe Sneaky then.
Well, so he said, I am happy to say that I can participate in 2019 All-Stars for the first time. Thank you all fans cheering me on. And everybody's replying saying, see you in Vegas. So I guess one of the other 2 players isn't going, which is super interesting. Could it also be Bang? Because maybe Bang is in Korea and he doesn't want to come over?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay. Anyway, so sorry, to finalize your take, is your frustration with them for not going, or?
I think the frustration of it is the fact that this seems just more of like a fan meet that Riot isn't emphasizing and making the Star event enough where the players even feel the value of going. So it ruins it for the fans.
Well, what's funny is Doublelift said he is going, he's just not going to participate. So he's going to go and create content and stuff.
Yeah,
so
but I feel like him participating in the event and just seeing, say Doublelift Faker or something like that makes an impact.
No, I mean, I definitely agree that it is really disappointing when the fans all vote for 2 people and then they don't go. In fact, actually, if I was to criticize, if I can put a little bit of a critique on Doublelift and Bjergsen, like, I think it's kind of a bummer that they waited so long to say anything. Because when did Bjerg say? Recently, right?
Yeah, recently. I think probably yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I said that like in Shanghai.
And did voting lock yet?
I think so.
I mean, if CoreJJ is tweeting, he's going.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of a bummer. It's like in the past, because I think both Bjergsen and Doublelift have not gone in the past when they've been voted. I think there was a year Peter turned it down. And I think there was a year that Bjerg turned it down. And so maybe I'm wrong on the Bjerg thing. But I think it's kind of unfortunate because in the past, I believe they said it way earlier so that fans could vote for other people. So I think that's kind of a bit of a faux pas on their part to not let people waste their votes on 2 people that aren't going. I don't know. I think that's a little disappointing. But I don't know. So I'm kind of fine with All-Stars as it is right now. For the first time ever, I'm okay with it. I think last year was pretty good. The event is never going to be that flashy because it's after Worlds. I've criticized that event for a ton, but after a while I started to say, like, it should just be this kind of fun event that is, everyone can enjoy. It can be in Vegas or Hawaii or someplace cool, and everyone just blows off steam, and Riot doesn't need to worry about it too much. The viewership doesn't need to be that crazy, and whatever players can go on it can go. I think it's really boring when you try to make it super competitive because it's never going to be truly competitive. It's the same problem that Rift Rivals has. And I think it's really boring when you do it in the same, like they've been doing it in the past in like the LCS arena. I think that's really boring because the players it doesn't feel special to them. I don't know. I guess you could pay Bjerg and Doublelift to make it worth their time. This is probably a big part of the reason why they don't go is because there's not like a huge financial upside. But I think it's kind of okay. And yeah, I do wish that Bjerg and Doublelift were going, but I don't think it's terrible that they're not.
I also think, the fact, like you said, that Doublelift still is going, just not as an all-star participant, still is overall a good thing. Because if it was somewhere less interesting, or he's still going because it sounds fun, right? If it didn't sound fun at all, he would just turn it down and stay home and stream or go take a vacation somewhere else. And while he's not a participant, I think what you said about not declining earlier is true. At the very least, he'll probably still be around us at the event. You'll probably, like you said, see him in content and interacting with other pros from other regions. And that's really what the whole point is to like humanize the players and show them fun. And even if he's not directly participating, the fact that it is in a fun location means that content creators, that's what I remember about last year's World too, was like the after party. And oh shit, it's like half the NA League.
Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit, by the way.
Well, okay.
But yes,
I have a count.
Yes, and it becomes like this fun party that other people can go to, and that they show up. So yeah, actually, that's a good point. I think. Sorry, were you saying that it's good that Doublelift is going anyway, even if he's not participating?
Yeah, it's great that he, as a personality, is still going. Just kind of like I hope, like, even though it's kind of far, but like Doinby goes, even though he's not like the top 2 in the LPL. Like the big league personalities that are really starting to shine and make like the humanized side of these professionals.
Yeah. Kelby, you're going to All Stars, right?
Dude, not if hotels are that expensive, man.
They're not that expensive. Kelby's supposed to, so everyone that knows, Kelby's supposed to go. He told Peter and I that he was going to go. Hotels
Can I stay in your room, Travis?
Why not just let him stay in your room, dude?
Yeah. I'll split the, what's the room cost?
All right, deal.
Oh, shit. What just happened? Holy fuck. Ah! Okay, cool. Anyways, what about All-Stars? Oh, yeah, pros have hated that event for years. Peter and Bjerg should definitely, you know, let people know at the beginning if they're planning on not going so that people don't waste votes on them. But, yeah, I wouldn't want to go to that event either in the middle of my off season when I'm on for 10 or 11 months out of the year. So.
But Peter's going anyway.
No, yeah, but I wouldn't want to go to compete. I'd want to be able to take my break and not have any obligations.
He wants to do shots around craps table boys and be hung over the next day and not playing stage, holding Mark back.
Yeah. You need to. Riot needs to incentivize all stars in a different manner if they want their star talent to attend and feel good about it, which they should want their star talent to actually
straight up pay people.
I don't know what the answer is, but that's one solution. But
because if you prize pool it, everybody takes it super seriously and it loses its fun.
No, you don't need to prize pool. You just literally get paid a bonus for being voted in being an all-stars and participating.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be a problem because then it would just be a popularity contest? And
what is all-stars right now?
Yeah, but I'm just saying if you start throwing money in there, wouldn't it make it a little bit more upsetting to the actual pros who, let's say, feel like they're better than the other one that got voted in?
I would hate to see a world where players are incentivized to try to build a brand for themselves.
Yeah, this
would be terrible.
Like you get these really cool campaigns, I would hope, where people are like fucking memeing it up to say vote for me, as opposed to right now where no one says fuck all.
Okay, so Sneaky tweeted he's going to All Stars. Sneaky tweeted he's going to All Stars.
Yeah.
So I assume that's Jack watching right now, and he's did Sneaky just tweet it?
No.
Oh no, he tweeted 58 minutes ago. All right, it wasn't Jack messaging him being like, yeah. So has Bang tweeted yet? Because if Corjay is going instead of Bang, then that would make sense. Oh wait, Bang also tweeted that he's going.
CoreJJ lied, or is he just actually going fun with Peter? Couples.
No, he said something about how he's gonna participate for the first time. Thank you for all the fans cheering him on.
So who's
I think
the other
maybe
person
Riot can just
out?
invite people, and maybe that's what they did. Maybe that's what happened.
Riot, hook it up then.
Yeah. All right, Mark's Cat. Anything you want to say as we say goodbye?
No, just thank you, Mark, for the cat, and again, no cat for Kobe.
No cat for Kobe. Agreed. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Kobe hit what he needed to do to get the cat.
Get him the cat.
Why are you going to deprive him when you made a deal?
You know, he's going to be gone for like a month.
So?
So, it's a perfect example. If the cat was here, I'd have to take care of this cat for this entire month.
Yeah. If you want to share in the joy of having a cat, you need to also have some responsibility, Travis.
I don't want to share the joy of having the cat.
Did you see how comfy my cat was on my lap just a minute?
Yeah, I also saw how comfy your cat was whenever it was literally biting my head the other day whenever I was over there.
He was affectionate. He was picking bugs out of you.
Yeah, you should have a less biteable haircut, Travis.
That's the show. Mark, do you have anything you want to shout out?
No. Oh, I do. I'm doing a TFT thing on Saturday. I'm doing so.
What is it?
I need to look up the name.
Great. While you're looking it up, Kelby, do you have anything you want to shout out?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to FlyQuest Esports. Maybe if everybody that's watching the show right now went and gave them a follow on their Twitter handle, we could raise their Twitter follower count by 10%, and that's not that's not meaningless. And the other thing here is that I know that nobody who's watching the show right now actually follows them on Twitter, so they'd all be new followers. So hey, maybe you guys go give FlyQuest a chance. You know, they need love too.
It's called the Fandom League of Legends Teamfight Tactics. I thought it was something else, or like name, but it's a website name, Fandom. We use their wikis and stuff. They're awesome.
Oh yeah, okay, gotcha. Cool. Well, thanks for bringing me into that, because you know I like TFT, so it's cool that you reached out.
I have that sway.
Got me in.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it. Anyway, that's been Hotline League. I meant to say this at the beginning of the show, but I didn't. Everyone should play Death Stranding. I just beat that game. It's actually really enjoyable. Actually, not everyone, because some of you guys won't like it, but I highly recommend it. Also, sometimes I get games for free. I did not get that game for free. They didn't pay me anything. I went into Best Buy and I bought it, and I really enjoyed it. Death Stranding. It's great.
Similarly, great game. Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. We installed that. My girlfriend, she was away for a little bit. Also, great game. Jeff.
Similarly, great
Equally
game.
as artistic.
Dota 2. The main.
All right, that's the show, everyone.
Did you know I was gonna do it?
I was literally moving my cursor over, and as you said Dota 2, I just dropped you. There was something I was going to ask you, Kelby, on the show, and I forget what, and now I'm very sad. Damn it.
Oh,
Right,
well.
whatever. Anyway, that's the show, everyone. Thanks for watching. I don't know if we're going to be able to do one next week, because I will be in Austin for meetings with Alienware. I need to figure that out with Mark. But if not, then I will see you guys all after All-Stars, where I will be.
I vote we skip it.
You just want to skip it because your incredibly busy schedule these days is just taxing you so much.
Dude, I'm beat. I need a break. I bought Way of Kings, actually, because when my girlfriend was gone, I was so bored.
Good. Everyone should also read Brandon Sanderson stuff. All right. We're going to end the stream. Wait, no, we're not going to end the stream. We're ending the show, not the stream. Stick around if you're watching live. But otherwise, this has been Hotline.
You got a bounty?